Hey YouTube, I'm Mr. Terry. I'm a high school history teacher, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys 25 history memes. So how I got these memes is over on our Discord server. There is a channel where anyone can submit memes. And what I did with this video is went and selected 25 memes to share with you guys. Now I've done a bunch of history meme videos before, and those were a little bit different in the style of how I did them. They were memes that were picked by my Discord staff. They picked up some of the best ones that people had submitted, put them together, and then it was basically a reaction for me to those memes because I hadn't seen them before. I wanted to try something a little bit different today, and I also want your feedback here today. What I did today was pick the memes myself and looked at them, and then put them together, and then I will share them with you and be able to talk about them. Because in some of those meme reaction videos, a lot of them were fairly obscure, and one of my purposes for this channel is to learn more about history, and I kind of use it as a way that'll be like, that was like, hey, I actually don't know what this meme represents, so why don't you give me feedback? And I think that has a purpose, but I also felt kind of lame the fact that like I would show a meme and not necessarily be able to explain it. So I actually want your feedback. I'm going to put a poll in the community tab and ask you guys what type of meme format you think would be better. One that I kind of picked them and I've looked at them so I can know explain the references, or more of like a live reaction to them. And I may not know all of them, but nevertheless, you get a genuine reaction. So there's going to be a poll. I'll try to put the link if I can down below as well. And let me know what format you like. So check out what we're doing here. And again, if you like this format better, maybe vote for that. Last thing before we start showing the memes, if you guys like history memes and you like cool history clothing, I want to just plug something I have a couple times, and that is our Teespring store. And we have some shirts that are kind of like memed in nature with history. Like this is the bestseller, the one that people like the most. This is Blue Shell to Berlin that we call. You got World War II, you got Stalin, Hitler, Mario Kart style. It's a lot of fun. But just wanted to plug that if you didn't know about it. You might like it. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get into the memes. All right, here's our first meme. So look, you got the kid in front of class, right? Don't you hate? Does it even happen in class, like anymore? Like in history, my history class, there's not really a lot of times where a kid will just like go up and write the answer. But maybe when I was young in math class. Anyways, we got 500 minus 400. Sitting there looking back, looks like he I don't know if he needs help from his friend or something. And it was, how long was the 100 Years' War? 116 years. So if you don't understand this one, the joke in a way is that the 100 Years' War between England and France during the Middle Ages was not exactly 100 years. It was more than that. It was like, yeah, like here, 116 years. But I don't know the committee that names wars, but they just got lazy with this one. I mean, you're not going to call it the 116 Years' War because that's lame, but you couldn't give it some other name. And it's just a series of wars, not like a war. But nevertheless, I thought this was great because it's just kind of funny that, 100 Years' War, yes, it wasn't actually 100 years. All right, moving on. Okay, so all of you debate lords or people that hate debate lords or know what debate lords are going to feel for this one. So here we got, and if you know your immediate Greek history or Greek mythology, semi-Greek mythology, whatever, we've got the Achilles heel, right? You've got Achilles who takes an arrow to the heel, which they say, mythologically speaking, is a demigod, apparently was his weak spot. And it takes him down. So the argument here, a well-structured argument to defeat a stranger on the internet. Boom, a typo takes it down. You all been there, whether you've been in an internet argument or you've seen one where, yes, you have this nice argument. Oh no, though, there's a typo. Therefore, the person only refutes the typo because they can't actually address the actual argument. So maybe if you're a victim of this, I'm sorry. Make sure you proofread. But if you're the person that attacks the typo and not the argument, shame on you. You have lost your argument. Next meme. All right. I liked this one. It said, how people think the American Revolutionary War was. Right? So you've got, the Americans just going ham here. Running in, and they're kicking the British butt. and kicking everyone's butt, and it's like America just was like overpowering and dominant. And then I like the second part of the meme here. It's how it really was. Get back here, you little... Yes. That's basically actually how the Revolutionary War was. You people outside of the United States, I know the American Revolutionary War history is very small. Here, of course, in the United States, it is taught a lot, and it has generally been taught, at least historically speaking, and maybe it's getting a little bit better now, that yes, the United States was just this, although in its infancy, this like military giant that took down the British Empire, the biggest empire in the world. And the British came in and they were like, you guys are not leaving us, and we're going to bring our entire military might. And yeah, that's not actually how it was at all. The British investment in actually defending the American colonies was minuscule in comparison to the actual full might and focus of the British Empire. Most people will often say from the British perspective, especially from a public perspective and even from a lot of their politicians, that eventually there was going to come the time where the United States was going to become an independent country. They're going to develop more of their own identity. They're going to grow larger and want to break off. And that a full investment of trying to keep the United States as a colony was not going to be worth it. And you saw that with the war, of how it went down. It becomes less and less popular over in Britain, and they were pretty much forced to do that. So really what it came to, and I think the bottom picture kind of does a good job with this, is the United States just needs to drag on. The longer this war goes on, the better it is for the United States, right? Just hold on. Tire out the British will. And that's essentially what happened, because very few battles, if you want to look at it from a battle perspective, by the United States were actually very successful. And it should be put in here, the United States would not have had the success without the help of the French. Keep that in mind for maybe a future meme, because the French help in the American Revolution is been very understated. But again, the traditionalist kind of teaching of American superiority in history was more like the top image, when really it was, in fact, more like the bottom image. All right, moving on. I thought this one was great. Said nothing cool happened in the 1930s. As long as, okay, we're not going to talk about all the other major events of the 1930s, but that's not the point. Beside the point is apparently Australians doing chariot races with motorcycles, which apparently was happening here. I'm assuming it is the Australians in the 1930s. They got Roman chariot races, but the more modern version. Just imagine if this actually existed like in the Roman Empire. Good job, Australia. Next meme. Okay, Beethoven. When he turns 30, I am become deaf. All right, lot to unpack here. So if you know what the image is, this is from Epic Rap Battles of History. And the image, though, is not actually of Beethoven. It is of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the sort of father of the atomic bomb. And the I don't know if you'd call it a joke, but he had this famous line in an interview where he likened his work on and what had been achieved by the atomic bomb to the line in the Bhagavad Gita. Long story, but ends up saying, I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. And he said that's how he felt after like the Trinity test and the use of the atomic bomb. Now, the joke that they're tying with here, though, is, of course, Beethoven. Now, Beethoven, one of the greatest composers, maybe the most famous composer of all time, was, interestingly, became deaf. And people, again, that's pretty remarkable, right? To have a deaf composer. It makes it even more impressive because it shows that he has memorized what notes sound like and what and how song structure is enough to know that even if he couldn't hear it at the time, he knows that it could sound very good. So that's what that joke is. But yes, I am become deaf. Next meme. All right. We got some Belgian love here. Okay. So you got the dude, Despicable Me dude, right? And you got a Belgian flag. It's the flag of Belgium there. And invented fries. Give it to the Americans to get it more known. Okay, but here's the catch. your soldiers speak French, because a lot of people in Belgium speak French. I believe it's the most spoken language in Belgium. Correct me if I'm wrong if it's still like that. And it says your soldiers speak French, and now Americans think they're eating French fries. So I don't know if we need to turn this into campaign. Do we really need to push now to say or stop calling fries French fries? I know people, you just call them fries, but people know what you say when you call French fries. Do we need to go to Belgian fries? I want to order some Belgian fries. I want a large order of Belgian fries. I'm sorry, Belgium, but we'll try to get you back in some way. But thank you for the fries. I can guarantee you we appreciate it. And I can speak on behalf of the American public. Next meme. All right. So we got the bros here, right? We got the hand grip greeting dudes, right? Unifying themselves. So the Poles, first one, we got Poles and the Russians hating the Ukrainians. But then you got the Ukrainians and the Russians hating the Poles. And then you got Ukrainians and Poles hating the Russians. Dude, this is an awkward backstabbing relationship here in Eastern Europe. And it's such a shame. But yes, it's like they all actually hate each other. But they all have an agreements that like they may not like each other, but they both agree that they don't like another group and they can all be unified. So it's like a big hate triangle, pretty much, unfortunately, going down here in Eastern Europe. Any Eastern Europeans in the comment section, let us know. Is this true? Next meme. All right. Tell them off, Chamberlain. Assert yourself. So we got Winston Churchill here. I know you guys love your SpongeBob memes. But yeah, tell them off, Chamberlain. Assert yourself. Neville Chamberlain, Prime Minister of Great Britain here. Winston Churchill was one of the people that was against basically making any kind of deals with Adolf Hitler towards his rise to power. Anyway, that's not ethnic German territory. Okay. And it says, great, now let them have it. You can have it. All right, so if you don't know the history behind this, and it will make it more funny, here's basically how it goes. You have the appeasement process or appeasement deal. Adolf Hitler had been defying the Treaty of Versailles by acquiring lands that had Germany was no longer in control of. It started with the Rhineland, and then the unification of Austria, and then the Sudetenland, which was the part of Czechoslovakia that was predominantly German, ethnically speaking. And at that point, the deal was made, and Neville Chamberlain being a big part of that, Prime Minister of Great Britain, to avoid war, said, okay, you can basically keep the stuff that you have because the regions that had been taken were predominantly ethnically German. And that was Adolf Hitler's basically defense of that hey, there's places that were taken away from Germany in World War I, but are ethnically German, and they're not fighting back, and in fact, they want to be unified with Germany, which is largely the case. So the deal was, okay, you can do that, but no more, right? That's it. That's done. There's no more ethnic German places. You will have no justification, and we could potentially have war if you tried to do that. So when the Nazis, though, after that, just within a few months after that deal, invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia. Now, the rest of Czechoslovakia was not ethnically German, and Hitler had very clearly gone against the agreement and broken this deal. So the line in here is okay, so you got, tell them off, Chamberlain, assert yourself. That's not ethnic German territory. Great, now let him have it. And what he means by and what Churchill means as meme is let him have it is like, okay, he went against the deal, now go fight him, which is what Churchill has been saying this whole time. And in the last one, it's whether it's him misunderstanding Churchill says let him have it. What Chamberlain means here is, okay, you can have the rest of Czechoslovakia. But that's not what Churchill meant. Churchill meant like, oh, let him have it. Let's go to war. So there you go. I like this one. A lot of great context here. Next meme. So apparently this is one I posted because I thought it was funny, and my mods actually put it in to the memes channel that's like for me to review memes. Additionally, so they took something I had here, and I just thought it was great because I'm sure we all relate to this. Okay, so apparently on February 21st of 2020. This guy Larry Tesler, that basically created the copy and paste function for computers, the dude died. So every student ever that plagiarized in some way, which is basically every student ever, you can give the salute. You guys can do it on your own in the chat, in the comments, whatever. Let's go ahead and get a 007 salute for Mr. Larry Tesler, who helped many a student over the many years basically cheat on their assignments with the copy and paste function. Thank you. That one's for you. All right. Everyone likes Legos, and everyone likes World War II, so let's throw them together. So here we got. Our foe is vast. So we got the Red Army. We got the Soviet Union. Our land is small. It's Finland. Soviet Union is heading into Finland. Where will we find space? To bury them all. The White Death. Probably the most famous sniper in history. I forgot how many Soviets this dude took out, but it is an insane number. I'm sure somebody can help us in the comment section. The White Death, the greatest sniper ever, who just unleashed heck against the Soviet army here in World War II. We can give him an 07 as well. Well done. Next meme. All right, everyone likes some Lord of the Rings here. Sorry if it's a little small on the screen there, but I'll read it. So, famous scene here, right? Hobbits are traveling. They're not used to not eating so much and traveling so much. All right, but we got the Hobbits. They represent Germany. How about a world war? Aragorn here, the Allies. We already had it. Germany comes back and says, we've had one, yes. And then Germany says, what about a second world war? Well done. Now they were talking about breakfast in the movies. But it makes a pretty good parallel because, yes, Germany is often stated as being a major cause for both world wars. Definitely more World War II than World War I. But nevertheless, yes, we've had one world war. What about a second one? Well, they got it. Next meme. All right, the Cosmonauts returning to Earth. So this is that Nickelodeon show, right? I forgot what they're called. This guy, and then that guy. Apparently there's a running meme of them like returning and asking where the stuff is that I guess the guy on the right was supposed to be responsible for. Anyway, regardless, the joke is great here. The Cosmonauts returning to Earth. Gorbachev, where's the Soviet Union? So we've got the Russian space program, Soviet space program, because it's still the Soviet Union there. And they're up doing their space stuff. And yeah, by the time they had returned, the Soviet Union had dissolved. And that is largely put onto, although there's a lot of long-term causes for the cause of the Soviet Union. It pretty much fell in the hands and right into the lap of Mikhail Gorbachev, who ends up being the last leader of the Soviet Union. So that's why the dudes at Zach and Josh, is that their names or whatever, saying, yeah, we're a Soviet Union, because Gorbachev was the leader and there now is no Soviet Union because it broke up. Well done. Next meme. Midwife. Congratulations, it's a baby girl. Henry VIII. Shame. I love this. I forgot this guy's name. He's great in those movies. He's in a bunch of movies. But yes, of course, we're going Henry VIII here. We all know the running historical context, right? Henry VIII's big thing is he was having trouble getting male heir. And he went through a bunch of wives. And they kept, if they were able to get pregnant, which again was a difficulty for him, but they were having girls. And of course, the big thing for a monarch is they want a male heir to pass down their lineage to. So, yep. Now, the shame thing, before you think he's going and killing babies. Nope. He was going through his wives and blamed his wives and tried to get trumped up charges on them that ended to their deaths so that he could then remarry, because he thought that the wife was the problem and was unable to bear male children. Now, the kind of funny irony, it's not really that funny, but it is ironic, was the fact that today, with genetics, we understand that the sex of the child is actually determined by the male chromosome. So technically speaking, it's actually Henry's fault that he had so many more girls and before he had a boy. So there you go. Next meme. Nobody. The History Channel at night. So you got dinosaur coming in on like the nativity. Yeah, the History Channel, of course, a big running joke for years now is that they do so much over the top, like pretty much sci-fi history now these days, where they throw in aliens and all kinds of preposterous historical hypotheses about what actually happened. You got ancient aliens in history, and then all just the non-history related stuff. So I thought this was great, just mixing two wild things. Because, yeah, it's pretty much what the History Channel is. But then, of course, they sneak it every once in a while. Just a great history program. So we guess we can still call them that. The History Channel. Next meme. All right, a little bit smaller there. Sorry if you can't read it, but I'll explain it. July 4th, 1776. The British. Just saying you're independent doesn't make it true. Then Thomas Jefferson. I didn't say it. I declared it. Now, I'm a sucker for the Office memes, and I hope you guys are too, because that's such a great one. Because it's in the show, it's in bankruptcy. He walks out in the office and says, because he's having financial problems, I declare bankruptcy. And then Toby, the HR rep, comes in later and says, you know, just saying the word bankruptcy doesn't mean anything's going to happen. And then Michael responds, I didn't say it. I declared it. Like it makes any difference. But it's totally a true thing, because I tell this point in my class where it's like we celebrate the 4th of July, right? In the United States. It's a huge deal. Day of Declaration of Independence, all that stuff. But I always like to bring up the counter argument just to get them thinking. Is that really the day we should be celebrating, or should be the day that the British officially, basically with the Treaty of Paris, observed and said and declared from their perspective, yes, the United States is dependent? Or are you just celebrating the day you declared it, or the day you actually earned it and the war is over? Now, that doesn't happen for you a few years later, but it would be, it's an interesting topic to talk about. So, yeah, because they say, yeah, just because they declared independence doesn't mean the British, like, they didn't hand over the Declaration of Independence to King George, and King George was like, oh, crap, they declared independence, I guess they're independent now. No, they're going to continue fighting the war that had already started. So, anyway, it brings in a great one, but I love that one. That's a good meme. All right, let's get into some conspiracy stuff. Time Traveler. What year is it? CIA agent. 1963. Time Traveler. Before or after JFK was CIA agent? Before. Time Traveler. Stunned face here. Now, the joke here, if you want to call it that, the punchline, was that JFK is John F. Kennedy. Okay, president during the early 1960s, elected in 1960, and then he was assassinated, of course, in 1963. And there was a huge conspiracy about Lee Harvey Oswald, and he was the assassin and supposed assassin. But there's all this kind of conspiracies of who was he working for, and of course, one of the big ones was a government agency actually behind the murder. Was it potentially the CIA? And the joke here is, of course, insinuating that the time traveler here is asking about JFK before he even finishes of what happened to JFK, that he basically spills the beans, saying the CIA was, in fact, responsible for it. All right, awesome. Next meme. All right, I put this one in because of all of the many Otto von Bismarck fans that are all over the internet. So we got England and France. We got Kong, right? King Kong and Godzilla going at it. Then you got Bismarck flying in, basically running them off because he is credited for the unification of Germany. So all the German states and Prussia and all that, bam, coming in and basically settling the score, becoming the power here of Europe. And plus we got the Doge out there coming in with his bat. So not a lot of explaining too much, because I mostly put this in knowing that so many of you are Otto von Bismarck fans. Next meme. All right, always down with some Greek philosophy. We got Socrates giving a bottle to Plato, who then is giving it to Aristotle, who is then getting one to Alexander the Great. And then it finishes with Diogenes lighting a Molotov cocktail. Now, if you don't know about Diogenes, I've done a couple videos, I think, responding to some stuff from him. He's one of the most fascinating philosophers in history because I don't want to go into the huge story, but the dude was totally different. He was an odd dude. He basically was intentionally homeless and lived this super depraved life. And he was kind of seen as one of the kind of early founders, or I don't know if you'd really say founder, but proponents of like cynicism. He was known as Diogenes the Cynic. And but anyway, yeah, he comes through and totally breaks all that. It's just like, because Socrates, by the way, influenced Plato. Basically, Plato was a follower of Socrates. Aristotle was a follower of Plato. And then Aristotle was the personal tutor of Alexander the Great. So we got a very big education. But Diogenes totally breaks the mold of all these guys. These are aristocratic guys, where Diogenes was totally against material possessions. And his philosophies are very interesting. If you want to look at some reaction videos on some Diogenes stuff, I'm sure if you just search some of that, even in just in my playlist history or other playlists, you're going to find some stuff. But anyway, this is a great one, especially if you're a Diogenes fan or whatever. All right, next meme. So why did you help America during the Revolutionary War? Okay, this is where I was kind of foreshadowing this in that first meme, one of the early memes. France says, I don't care if you win. I need England to lose. So of course we got some Star Wars going on here. But the context is this. France had lost about 20 years before this, major blow to France in their war with England, known as the 7 Years' War. And France came to the aid of the Americans, not necessarily to help America or for any relationship that much there, although the Americans definitely felt there was a relationship. It was a far bigger deal to the French that England get knocked down or rung on the ladder, because France was still feeling the effects of that. And their monarchy was, I guess you would say, not over it as well. So they went and helped the Americans, less about helping the Americans, but more to sticking it to their old foe, Britain. Now, from the American perspective, this is a very important thing because France offered a lot of things the United States just didn't have. I mean, the United States really didn't have a standing army. They had basically no navy, which is where the French were. It's extremely helpful with, and not a lot of experience fighting and that way. So the French came in and did a lot of help, both on and off land, to help the war. But again, in the end, it was far more about hurting England than it was to help the Americans. Next meme. Let's go back to World War II. We got the Soviet Union. We got some Spider-Man memes, right? So Soviet Union say, we defeated the Germans. Okay, now you have these Eastern European countries here, Poland, Czechoslovakia, etc. So we're free now. Right? Now, why they're saying that is the Soviet Union invaded and occupied a whole bunch of Eastern European countries during World War II to invade Germany. So are we free now? Soviet Union looks at them. And of course, the all famous laugh. Because that didn't happen. So now, Joseph Stalin, if we want to liken this character, right, the Jameson character here to Joseph Stalin, basically had promised the Allies and was promising everybody that after the war, these countries would be allowed their independence and they have free elections and all that stuff. And famously, that did not happen. Stalin broke those promises and continued to occupy these countries, and the Soviet Union pretty much propped up puppet communist governments in all of these countries and getting them absorbed into the Soviet Union. So, yep, they were not free. Next meme. All right, this is one that's come up. This meme has come up at least once, and I know it's been covered in a video that I've reacted to, but it bears repeating just because it's kind of a funny story. So it says, trade offer. I receive a Pepsi. You receive, right, a naval ship, submarine or something. And it's the Soviet Union. Now, what this refers to, if you have no idea what this was going on here, the Soviet Union had a bunch of old ships and stuff that were not really being used and repurposed. So they were just basically just trying to get rid of them. And it was sold. They ended up making a deal with Pepsi to buy all of this, metallic ships and all this like old broken down Soviet Union stuff, naval stuff. And the Soviet, they got Pepsi. So it's basically a deal of like old naval vessels for Pepsi. Amazing. Next meme. All right, I put this in just to, you don't have to be hopefully a teacher. If you're a teacher out there, you can come to appreciate this. But I like that this, because it's kind of heartwarming, okay? So teachers really used to hype up the end of the year party just to serve this, right? The tiny, tiny sliver of pizza, and then the tiny little pretty much Dixie cup sized soda that you got. And yes, I am pretty sure I was involved in a bunch of these end of the year parties, and it was very much a letdown, at least from the food and stuff perspective. But the wholesome second image here brings it home, right? You got basically the tear-filled cat, thumbs upping, saying, the underpaid teachers who are trying to make an effort to their students. Thank you, sad cat, for recognizing it. Yes, even though our parties are lame, you got to understand, we don't have the budget. We don't have the pay to have really cool, over-the-top parties. But we're trying. I promise we're trying. Thank you, nice cat there, for doing that. Next meme. All right, so we got the British and the French. Carving up turkey. Oh, no. You got Drake, right? Isn't that the Drake meme? They're not into carving up that kind of turkey. But they'll carve up the other turkey, and that is the country of Turkey. Now, after World War I, if you want to go back to the history back here, what today is Turkey was part of the Ottoman Empire. And the whole Middle East there, like with everything that was Ottoman Empire, so it would be today's Turkey and into the Middle East, Arabia, Iraq, Syria, etc. The allies there, under the British and French, divided up that whole region into mandates that the British and the French would then oversee. And that's what they're talking about there, is basically carving up that region. So it's like a different type of Turkey, carving up and overseeing it, which of course is going to bring all kinds of issues, leading to the creation of Israel under the British mandate there, and then the French mandate having problems there, modern day Syria. A lot of stuff you could go on into a lot of modern day stuff. All right. I love Simpsons memes. Let's go ahead and show this one. Let me move me down so you can see the text. Just a little bit. All right. So we got Marge talking to Bart. Everybody's got a fear of something. Homer comes in. Not everybody. He represents the United States. Vietnamese farmers. Where? Screams. So this is in reference, of course, to the Vietnam War, which the United States suffered greatly in, because of the fighting conditions in Vietnam, and so many people that were fighting in Vietnam were everyday farmers and basically turned into the Viet Cong, if you will, at night. They were everyday farmers, but at night they were fighting against them, and the United States had a very, very hard time militarily dealing with these conditions, and has been one of the things brought up about one of the military failures of the United States there. So I'm trying to remember what the line in the show was. Was it clowns? I'm trying to remember what Homer was actually afraid of in the show. No, sock puppets. Sock puppets, right? And then he's like, where? But I think this is a great meme. I think this should get used. This should get used more. It's a great template. All right, this is the last meme, guys. This is meme 25. Now, because this thing is freaking huge. I got to make sure I can get this thing a lot bigger, the meme bigger. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, we're going to blow this thing up because it goes quite a ways. All right. Let's do some more World War I. Now, one of the things I tried to get across in my class. Sorry, let me hopefully get to a place where I'm not blocking it. With World War I is the causes are so incredibly complicated. And a lot of people that don't really know history, and if they know more about World War II, which the causes were more simplistic, comparatively speaking, kind of forget how complicated World War I was and how it didn't make a lot of sense from a causation standpoint. All right, so we're in the car here. We got Homer who's representing the United States. We got Miss Krabappel representing France here. Says, okay. So Homer's saying, okay, once more. Why am I going to war? They're telling the Americans, because Germany was trying to get Mexico to declare war on you. Now, this is in reference to the Zimmerman note that the Germans sent to Mexico, basically saying, hey, you know what you got to do is start a war with America. America was already out of the war, but they're trying to keep the Americans out of the war even further because the Germans know that the Americans joining the Allies could be very devastating. And that telegram sent from Germany to Mexico with this proposition was intercepted and then given to the Americans, of course, in the hope by the Allies that would infuriate them enough to join the war. Now, that wasn't the only thing. There was a lot of things that happened that got the United States in the war, a handful of things, but this was, in fact, one of them. All right. And why was Germany doing that? Now, Germany's coming in and saying, this is Germany. We got Skinner's, Principal Skinner's mom. I forget what the scene was, why they're all going here. But because you were trading with the UK, which is true. The United States was declaring neutrality in this war, but was doing business with the United Kingdom. And that's something the Germans did not like. It's like, hey, you're doing business with an enemy, so how can you be neutral? And you're hurting us by supplying the British. Of course, the Americans saying, no, just because we're trading doesn't mean we're, part of the war. But that's just a difference of opinion, I guess. All right, next frames. And why is the UK at war with Germany? Because Belgian neutrality was violated. So this is the British coming in and explaining their point of view. Now, I'll let the next one explain it because it basically does the explain. I actually don't have to explain a lot in this meme. And why did Germany do that? Now the British are talking again. Because Germany is at war with France and it's a shortcut. So what we mean by that is it'd be easier and less defended for Germany to invade France through Belgium than to go across the German and French border, which was heavily defended. All right, next frames. And why are they at war? So now in the back here, we got the Russians and we got Austria-Hungary popping in. Because Russia is allied to France and Germany is allied with Austria, and Austria and Russia are at war. A lot of stuff there. Homer's coming back here. And why are they at war? Because a Serbian shot an Austrian noble. Dealing with Gavrilo Princip, who was Bosnian. I forget to talk about political definitions a little more. Serbia, whatever. But shot the Austrian noble, Franz Ferdinand, who is sitting back here. I guess Grandpa is representing Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand is the nephew of the emperor and next in line for the throne. And then Homer finishes it off. Fair enough. This is great. I honestly one of the reasons I do the meme videos is I like putting memes in my lessons, and I'm always looking for new ones. And I think this is one that I gotta throw in. But again, I know I'm getting old. You kids still know about The Simpsons? I hope so. All right, guys. I hope you liked today's memes. If you stuck around with me this long, thank you very much for doing that. Now, like at the beginning of the video, I kind of want some feedback from you. Let me know. You can let me know in the comments. I'm going to put a poll. It'd really be good if you go to the community tab and I'm going to try to put a poll that says, what type of meme format do you like more? Do you like the way I had been doing it up until this point with a whole bunch of videos where basically my staff was putting together the community memes and then I would react to them firsthand? Or do you like this idea where I went through and kind of handpicked some of my favorites and then talked about them? Okay, pros and cons. I guess a pro of this format that you're seeing right here was, at least I can talk about some of them. And if you'd like to know, I guess, what the memes I like, and so you got that format. Or the old format, which was I'm looking at memes for the first time. Now, the thing about that is sometimes I've been able to filter through them. So, I may not know some of the references because sometimes they're very a little more obscure, just something maybe I don't know a lot about. So I feel like I'm not able to explain them that much, but you do get a genuine reaction. So either way, whatever format you like, I would actually like to know which one you prefer. So vote in the poll there, and I'll definitely use that to make informed decisions, because I know you guys love the meme videos, and we'll definitely be making more in the future. Now, last thing, if you want to get a meme into one of these videos, what you got to do is join our Discord server. So our Discord server, there's going to be a link down below. If you join that, there'll be a channel in there that says history memes, and you can put your memes in, and potentially they could get on there if I think it's good fitting. And for the most part, it's kind of classroom acceptable, nothing too, let's think about it. Would it be work in a classroom? Is it too dark? Is it too whatever? Something to think about if you're putting in there. But anyway, thanks again for joining the video. Check out the Teespring store. Again, if you want some more meme-like history merch, a lot of fun stuff, links to other things down there as well. And with that, we'll see you next time. Bye.